back as I can remember, I never quite felt like I fit in. As an adopted Indigenous woman, I felt out of place. I had something called synesthesia and neurodiversity. My parents and the people around me and the school system said I had the most wild and crazy imagination. And I thought everybody around me was crazy. I continued to study them with a feverish curiosity growing up. When I was 19, I imagined an economy. I imagined an economy that reflected the way that nature interacted with each other. For the next 20 years, I studied those systems, and I began to pursue that dream I had when I was 18, 19 years old, developing and studying the very deep nature of our systems, how they interact with each other in places of education, industry, government, and Indigenous people and our lands. After that 20 years, I launched a company with beautiful shareholders called For Our Future Indigenous Economics. The shareholders appointed me CEO, and For Our Future was born. For Our Future developed an economic lens called the Indigenous Economic Lens. This lens considers 4 aspects of people wellness and 4 aspects of land wellness in all developments, from major projects to extraction to environmental remediation, greenhouses, you name it. It's a lens that allowed industry, government, and First Nations to come together and sit around the table to plan the future with people and planet in mind. And then the pandemic hit, and our clients began to struggle badly. First Nations, small businesses were lacking the technology that they needed to access the markets beyond the reserve, beyond smaller communities, and beyond the reach of small businesses and First Nations communities. We began looking for ways that our people could embrace technology and have access to internet in order to keep their businesses and their economies healthy. This led us to publish 3 national papers on blockchain, augmented reality, and Web3. What we learned was that Web3 is a different way of looking at economy, and that blockchain was capable of providing economic dignity for our people while preserving our culture, our language, our art, and our music, with proper ownership and proper wealth sharing to all of our people for time immemorial. Our elders loved it, and so what we learned beyond that was that Web3 was a complicated subject matter, and it was difficult to get the information out to numerous governments across Canada and 600 First Nations and thousands of Indigenous communities and government agencies. So what we did is we became storytellers. We engaged our Indigenous youth team in a digital media arts program, and they developed something called 400 Drums. 400 Drums was our first NFT project launched during the pandemic in order to learn the power of blockchain. 400 Drums is still going now. Our youth team is still with us and are now managing and recording this video for you, doing our social media, and continuing to move into production in other areas. 400 Drums now does live art installations with QR codes that blockchain copyrights Indigenous arts, connects people to videography, film, storytelling, maps across Canada, Indigenous businesses, and an Indigenous business marketplace, which is upcoming. Beyond that, we've launched an artificial intelligence language platform to preserve our languages in connection with where that language came from and to ensure that blockchain holds the language keepers and the nation safe while sharing our language with our own people and people all over the world. What inspires me about International Women's Day today is that I want to say to any other young woman out there, never give up on those dreams. If you have them, they're yours to fulfill. Our elders tell us to do our part in this world, and my part was that dream I had of a system that could interact with each other and bring good things to people and to the earth and to my children and the 7 generations behind me. And I hope that if you're a young woman out there, you too will be able to believe in your heart and your dreams. Remember, sometimes it doesn't seem like our talents are real because they're so easy to do. But if you have a talent, it is easy to do, not easy for other people to do. So if you love something and you find it easy to do, develop that into a fine-tuned skill, and it will always serve you well. Thank you.